New faces, new places. That has two different meanings. We will talk about it on the Wrestling is Bullshit podcast. Stick around to learn about the ins and outs of this past week in the world of professional wrestling. Today is Monday, January 19th. So we have a fresh new week ahead of us, and we are in the rear view of a quite unique one that was last week. So let's get into it, guys. New faces, new places, right? We got some new faces on AMC as TNA has recently had their first show on AMC, their brand new TV deal. We'll see how this goes. AMC is quite the channel. I think it's great for TNA. They find a way to keep doing it, and they will find a way to keep doing it forever now that they are working with WWE. So we see the first Thursday night impact on AMC, and we see two new champions crowned, right? One of them minor, right? It is, but nonetheless, an effective one still. It's been a crazy week, low key. You got the inspiration dropping the Knockouts World Tag Team titles back to the Elegance brand. The only difference here is Ash by Elegance is not wrestling. She's more of a manager, and they've expanded their faction, and they are now the new Knockouts World Tag Team Champions. And in the main event, we had Frankie Kazarian defend the TNA World Championship against Mike Santana. Solid match, fun first main event for a brand new era for TNA. And we see Mike Santana regain the TNA World Championship, which is something that had taken the wind out of TNA sales, in my personal opinion. I see what they were trying to do. I see why they did it, and that will have a payoff later in today's episode. You will see TNA fans. Okay, it wasn't perfect. Okay, the first Impact wasn't perfect, and Genesis even had its faults. The pay per view that really had zero takeaways, in fact, except for this Texas death match that Mike Santana had with Frankie Kazarian once again defending the TNA World Championship. It's been an interesting week and it hasn't been perfect, but TNA has built something here in Mike Santana as TNA World Champion. We'll talk about that more later when the top 20 champions of wrestling list comes out to close out today's show. Okay, but nonetheless, yeah, we got two new champions in TNA and their first ever impact on AMC. All right, and then we have a bit of a interesting AEW collision result in Hangman and Jet Speed defeating the Ops and becoming the new AEW World Trios champions. Now, this is where the episode enters just the moving of pieces across the board if this were a game of Monopoly and the wrestling promotions were the players, right? So the reason that the Ops are dropping the AEW World Trios titles to Hangman and Jet Speed is because Powerhouse Hobbs is reportedly going to WWE. All right? Yes. Powerhouse Hobbs is reportedly going to WWE. Here's what we know. We know he's not staying in AEW. Here's what's rumored: the fact that he may be going to WWE, which will be a great fit for him, I think. I think that's fantastic news. But like I said, here we enter just free agency mania to start off 2026, man. Not only do we have Powerhouse Hobbs reportedly going to WWE, but the Iconics I just mentioned, the reason that they dropped the Knockouts World Tag Team titles is because they will be going elsewhere, whether that's back to WWE or whether that's to AEW. We'll see what happens. Okay. But we're not even. Where do we even start? Such a long list here. We'll start with the Rascals, okay? The Rascals are all elite, except for Trey Miguel, who was released a couple days after signing his contract. Trey Miguel said to be taking a break from wrestling. He's telling us to support the Rascals. That's what we're going to do. All right. This is a trio that AEW can slowly throughout the year build up to them winning the World Trios titles. All right. This is a great fit. This is a great fit for AEW. They've also just been moving different with CMLL. AEW and CMLL this week announce, or we see the result of dual contracts for luchadors that both operate in CMLL and in AEW. So three names that are now a part of the AEW roster officially while also remaining ties to CMLL. You got to understand that's a lot easier to do with CMLL than it is to do with New Japan, because getting wrestlers to Japan and back is not exactly convenient, but from the States to Mexico, absolutely. Right. And it's not like they're working full time schedules at both. I guess we'll see what this looks like. I don't even want to comment on that yet. But we have Persephone Hechicero, who's been on AEW a lot, and Mascara Dorada signing dual contracts and now being a part of the AEW roster, which I think are fantastic picks. All right. Persephone's going to be fantastic. She's going to have a pay per view title match at some point this year, and it'll be good. Right. Echicero's already been a big part of the Don Callis family, been a big presence in Ring of Honor, the mid card of AEW. Right. And we also have Mascara Dorada, who we have featured against Okada and Takeshita, if I'm not mistaken, late 2025, and who did fantastic. So this is good news. This is great for Lucha Libre. You know, it's great that you can pay on YouTube to watch CMLL, but I feel like the Americans, it's more of a Mexican thing, as it should be. But seeing CMLL stars also become a part of the AEW roster makes it that much easier for Americans to get informed with Lucha Libre. Um, yes, let's continue here. When it comes to TNA, we also had some new additions to the Knockouts roster. Daria Ray, formerly known as Sonya Deville, goes ahead and comes out turning heel on Santana. She was never an established babyface, but she damn sure established that she was a heel here, and she was going to be somewhat of an authoritative figure, right? Go figure with her history as a character in WWE as Sonya Deville. And then she goes ahead and introduces the newest member of the Knockouts division for TNA, Elena Black, formerly known as Cora Jade from WWE. Okay, both of these women are now members of the TNA Knockouts roster, which I think is humongous. I think the addition of Elena Black is humongous. I think Daria Ray is going to be fantastic. This is the type of spice that this Knockouts division really needed, and I'm very excited to see the Knockouts in 2026. This is good news. We have nothing but talent to work with here. And a couple new faces is just what we needed after losing a Jordan Grace and after losing others. Okay. Last but not least, guys, we have one more moving of a piece to another promotion, right? A player here. We have Santos Escobar, who's been silent for months, debuting on Triple A's Fox debut. Triple A on Fox just started yesterday. You could watch it on Fox in Mexico. In the United States, you could just hop on WWE's YouTube and they'll show it live and in English, which is cool. You see Santos Escobar return and look to have his eyes on El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr. in that Latin American Championship. Interesting. Very cool. Very awesome. All right. This is all good signings. Like, this is all doing good things for all promotions. Okay. Like, AEW's got their thing going. They're going to feature a little bit more Lucha Libre, right? WWE's got Powerhouse Hobbs coming in, which I know the fans will love. TNA adding much needed new faces to the Knockouts division, right? Not to mention Mike Santana is just fantastic. I think, while they did delay the gratification a little bit too much in 2025 with Mike Santana, we're about to get all the Mike Santana in the world defending the title now. And we're going to get it live on AMC, right? Like, that's going to be great. That's going to be great. So, like I said, it wasn't perfect, the TNA debut this week, but I could see the potential. All right. I know a lot of people are quick to shit on this. I'm not going to condone that. Listen, I've been going hard on TNA, saying that they've been making several mistakes, but it's a new year and it's a new era. So it's time to wipe the slate clean. And I'm excited to see what this grows into for TNA. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get into the watch list here. Let's talk about all these important matches that will be happening in the world of professional wrestling. It's quite an underrated long list. quite a packed week in wrestling this week. There's no big show, there's no big pay-per-view, but there's stuff all over the place here. Let's get started with Monday Night Raw. We got 2 title matches here as Becky Lynch defends the Women's Intercontinental Championship against Maxine Dupree. And we also have CM Punk. His second title defense of the World Heavyweight Championship will be against Finn Balor, which will be fantastic. Special start time for this Raw. At the time of this recording, it'll be happening in 2 hours. So we'll see how that goes. Very excited for both matches. Good to see CM Punk defending the title. That's my only thing is get in there and defend the title. So he's doing that now. He's going to be doing that on the road to WrestleMania. Very excited to see what comes of it. Going into it with a positive attitude. For those of you who's, it's your first time listening, I don't hate CM Punk, but I really don't care for this World Heavyweight title run. And a big thing on this show is prove me wrong. I might share some concerns about where things are going in the world of wrestling at any capacity. Prove me wrong. I'm happy to be proven wrong and give somebody their flowers on here. Let's go on to NXT on Tuesday. We have Ethan Page, all ego Ethan Page, defending the North American Championship against Elo LaFleur. All right. And on AEW Dynamite, we have the Death Riders taking on the Don Callis family in a street fight. Way to sneak this banger in there, man. We're getting a street fight, Death Riders versus Don Callis family. Probably going to be a big shift for the Death Riders, this match itself. I think this is where they go full babyface. I know AEW is kind of reluctant to turn the Death Riders face, but I mean, they've kind of done more than turn them face with and then have them act as heels on AEW programming as of recent. So, yeah, it'll be an interesting chapter for the Death Riders, a faction in which AEW doesn't really know how to use 100% right now, but is harnessing their energy into good. I thought the Jon Moxley G1 win was completely unexpected, completely fun. It was one of those real moments. It was real. He wasn't cutting a promo after he won. He was keeping it real. It was bigger than face and heel. Anywho, let's continue. Friday Night SmackDown. Something I've been enjoying greatly is seeing the Wyatt Six and the MFT go at it, right? They had a cool 5-on-5 tag team match. It was 5-on-5, 4-on-4, whatever. They've been putting on good stuff and they've been building to this. Well, now on SmackDown, the Wyatt Six, who lost their urn to Solo Sikoa, are in jeopardy of losing the WWE Tag Team Championship titles to MFTs. All right, as the Wyatt Six versus MFT will be for the WWE Tag Team Championship. Should be this is a must-watch match. I'm not going to lie. They've been saving this one. They've been saving it. All right, AEW Collision. We actually have 2 title matches here. We have Claudio Castagnoli defending the CMLL World Heavyweight Championship against Roderick Strong. That sounded crazy, but yes, I did not misspeak there. Claudio is defending the CMLL World Heavyweight Championship against Roderick Strong on Collision. Should be fun. We also have what I'm also equally excited for, Mark Briscoe defending the TNT Championship against El Clone. Now, I watched Collision recently. I like to watch Collision when it's live. And I watched an El Clone match, and I was like, dude, El Clone versus Mark Briscoe is going to be Collision's bread and butter in 2026. And here we go, going right to it. First match between Mark Briscoe and El Clone. They're probably going to have 3 to 5 matches this year. And I wouldn't blame AEW for doing that. All right? So this will be a treat. I feel like Mark Briscoe versus El Clone is going to be a fun Saturday night spectacle more than once this year. Right? Y'all may not see it because WWE will have their Saturday night's main event at the same time as AEW Collision. And I wouldn't blame you. I wouldn't blame you for missing Collision to see Saturday night's main event. Not only will we ultimately find out who Drew McIntyre will face at the Royal Rumble with the WWE Championship on the line, but we will also get Rhea Ripley and Io Sky, Rio, defending the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship against Judgment Day, which will be money. Okay, let me cut a good promo for WWE right now because the Women's Tag Team Championship in WWE is fantastic. I can easily say that I care more about the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship than I do the AEW Women's World Tag Team Championships. All right. And those titles are new. The AEW ones are new. They're fine. They're doing all right. But there's been such a synergy, such a consistency in the women's tag team division of WWE. And, at a time where I think the world title scenes are not great, to say the least, it's been cool to see these women's tag team titles hold it down, right? This is where you're seeing Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. This is where you're seeing Asuka and Kairi Sane. And now this is where you're seeing Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. The build to Rio to the titles was excellent. And we had some good moments in between with the Kabuki Warriors holding the belts as well. It's been fun. I'm excited. I'm most excited for that match this week, okay? Rio defending the WWE Tag Team Championship. WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. Sorry. Yeah. Before we get out of here, that was the watch list. Let's go ahead and close out today's show with the top 20 champions of wrestling. A brand new thing that I'm doing here for fun that is supposed to be synonymous, again, with the NCAA top 25, right? It's not really supposed to have that much weight because it's wrestling, but it's supposed to it's there to give people their flowers, and it is based on one thing I will reiterate. It's based on work rate. Are you showing up to work? Are you defending your title? Okay, that's what it's based on. It's based on work rate. So let me make that very clear. There is a data system to this. Is there spaces where subjectivity lies? You can bet your ass. Abso-freaking-lutely. All right? But I try to be fair with this stuff. Okay. So I want to do a new thing with this top 20 champions of wrestling list. I want to do a honorable mentions list. Okay. So if they did not crack the top 20, they are in here and they are doing a good job. All right. I think that's fair. Pagano and Psycho Clown, the AAA World Tag Team Champions, doing fantastic. Cappuccino Jones, W.I.B champion, right? Kind of a different, obviously, if you're a little more indie or you go to GCW a lot, you catch a lot of Cappuccino Jones, I bet. All right, if you're an indie guy, but if I would recommend Cappuccino Jones, he's fantastic, right? We have Jackson Drake, the WWE Evolve champion, doing good stuff over there, surprisingly. Okay, I wasn't expecting much from WWE Evolve. Their titles, they make them work, okay? They make them work, which is great. World Heavyweight Champion CM Punk, doing solid now that he's getting around to defending the belt, right? Getting some good metrics on the board, and we'll hope for him to crack the top 20 sooner than later, honestly, right? The Hardys, always somebody I love to put on the top 20, but they are doing solid right now, okay? The fact that they've been holding TNA down for so long is just unreal, really. It's beyond, like I said, we like to say that Father Time is undefeated. Father Time got to have a conversation with the Hardys, okay? I make the joke every week. Statlander, right? Honorable mention here. FTR, honorable mention here. Looking to see more from Stat and FTR as 2026 moves into the summer, closing out a spring, all-in season, right? Pay-per-view season. But right now they're all right. Wyatt Six, okay, doing their thing. They've been consistently holding those belts. I think it's been a great reign, and we have a great story with the MFTs kicking off 2026 here. Lei Ying Lee, okay, Knockouts division for TNA just got a little more interesting. Lei Ying Lee at the focal point of it, so that'll be very cool, very interesting. Babes of Wrath, all right, new champions, only been champions for a couple months, but they're doing their thing, and we'll look to see how this goes as Willow Nightingale holds the TBS and is one half of the AEW Women's World Tag Team Champions. It's interesting. Okay, it'll be interesting. I hope for the best with these titles. All right, I'm a little concerned about that. If I'm not gonna lie, right? Is the TBS one of the titles is gonna sit? Okay, either the TBS Championship, which has been hot for a year and a half, or the tag titles that just started. Maybe make it the TBS title. Okay, and then Kendall Gray, women's Evolve champion, who's been featured heavily on NXT, right? She's fantastic. These are all honorable mentions. These are all fantastic champions in the world of pro wrestling right now. Let's get into the top 20, though. All right. Let's go at number 20. Leon Slater. I'm not going to lie, he was scheduled to defend the X Division title twice in 1 week, and he didn't make either of those defenses due to visa issues. All right, that's going to hurt you on this list, but I'm sure he'll be right back to work. I'm sure he'll get it figured out. Okay, Leon Slater, number 20, doing really good. I can't wait to put him back in the top 10. Ethan Page and Chelsea Green, AAA World Mixed Tag Team Champions. Low-key been putting in work. You know, All Ego Ethan Page and Chelsea Green are two wrestlers that are just getting reps right now, just wrestling, just getting in the ring and doing it. So they've been doing good with these titles. Kind of a wild card hit here, but I'm happy to have it. Bandito, Ring of Honor World Champion. He's been fantastic. Coming up on a year now. 9 months of Bandito just consistently bringing back some respect to the Ring of Honor World Championship. Love it. Mark Briscoe, TNT champion. Fantastic, right? That is coming in at number 17, Mark Briscoe, okay, TNT champion. Good stuff. Defending the title on Collision, right? Having a good time. Built up to him all 2025. And now he's in a prominent role, holding down AEW Collision primarily, right? It's fun, and he deserves to be in that role. It's fantastic. Okay, number 16, Stephanie Vaquer, women's world champion. Just doing excellent work. Finally, right? Finally, we start moving with this women's world championship. It's had a slow 2025 over there on Monday Night Raw. Stephanie Vaquer's been excellent. All right. Number 15, Athena. Someone that's been excellent for years. Someone that carried Ring of Honor through the fire and flames of Tony Khan not knowing what to do with it. Athena here. Number 15, doing fantastic work. Years of doing fantastic work, right? Ricochet, number 14. Ricochet has been taking that AEW National Championship and defending it everywhere. He has been using it the way that it was meant to be used, the way that Tony Khan himself said it would be used. Doing a great job. Number 13, United States champion Carmelo Hayes. Still going strong, defending the title in the open challenge every Friday night on SmackDown, which is awesome. It's been awesome for Sammy, Ilya Dragunov, and now it's awesome for Carmelo Hayes. Probably on a collision course with Trick Williams. Watch out for that match for the United States Championship. He's just doing fantastic work, man. It works. All right. We got Red Velvet at number 12. Low key holding it down for Ring of Honor television. All right. If you're somebody that watches Ring of Honor television, you know Red Velvet's place here in the top 20 champions of wrestling. Just putting the boots on, strapping them up, and working, defending the title. Fantastic. And number 11, Claudio Castagnoli, CMLL World Heavyweight Champion. All right. Claudio Castagnoli is off to a hot start with the CMLL World Heavyweight title. And we saw similar situations when MJF held the CMLL World Light Heavyweight Championship. All right. When they are putting a CMLL title on somebody in AEW, they're going to make the belt mean something. They're going to build it to something. So we're building to something right now. We don't know what it is yet, right? The anniversary show is like 8 months away, but we're building to something. With these dual contracts, I want to touch before we get back. I want to touch on these dual contracts. I think you start getting dual contract wrestlers like Máscara Dorada, more likely to hold CMLL Gold and feature it in the world of wrestling a little bit more with this AEW contract, right? Whether it's on Collision or has a spot on Dynamite. I think we're ushering in a new era because you got to understand, like, titles don't really mean much in CMLL. Like, they're there, but they're not there like they are in AEW or WWE or really, everywhere else. Um, I think finding a way to balance these titles and feature them somehow and tell us that they're important and show us that they're important is important for CMLL to do. And I think if you have CMLL wrestlers who will also wrestle on AEW regularly, that'll be easy to feature them in a prominent role and have them defend the titles more often. Okay. Claudio's going to do that, and he's already doing that, and that's why he's number 11. Let's get into the top 10 here. Jon Moxley, Continental Champion. Talk about somebody that has put their boots on and come to work defending that Continental title in eliminator matches, but that counts for something. I will say that is a metric that counts for something, and I think it's smart. I think it's a smart thing to do, eliminator matches. They're not quite title matches, but they're more of a title match than they are a, regular singles match. So Jon Moxley is doing great. He's off to a great start. And we'll see how 2026 welcomes Jon Moxley, I guess. Number 9, Stacks. Okay, TNA International Champion. Just getting in the ring, defending the title, right? Just a hateable guy for the TNA fans, and he's doing it pretty well. Okay, he's doing it pretty well. I will say, I'll give credit where credit is due, man. Stacks is a hateable heel over there in TNA right now. They have taken all that animosity the TNA fans that have for the partnership with WWE, and they have somehow harnessed it on Stacks. And we'll see if we put the title back on Steve Macklin. I wouldn't mind that. Or if we make a new star with the TNA International Championship and Stacks. We'll see what happens. All right. We just started 2026. I imagine they're playing the long game with this one. We're going to just grow in hatred for Stacks. And hey, as long as he keeps doing his thing and defending the title, we'll have fun. All right, number 8, the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions, the Ichiban Sweet Boys, who are doing a good job and who have some experience, being champions in this division. It's going to be a good time for them. I think New Japan's on the upswing with this, so it'll be great. All right. I have another New Japan champion, or should I say champions, coming after them, right? So, number 7, the never open weight 6-man tag team champions, the Mighty Don't Kneel. I think this is a great way to use the belts. I think at Wrestle Kingdom, they showed us that they have a fat division for the never open weight 6-man tag team championship and for the never open weight championship. I love how they doubled down on those titles. And we're seeing the Mighty Don't Kneel in a pretty prominent role here, and they're going to make these titles mean something in 2026. All right. And now we have number 6, Laney Luck, WWE ID Women's Champion. If you're not familiar with Laney Luck, get familiar. I understand it's not easy for us to be familiar with who these WWE ID champions are unless you kind of jump around and pay for different indie streaming services, which I don't expect you to do. Just know that they're doing good work. I keep my eye on them, and it's kind of like a source trust me bro situation, right? I will say I am using work rate to determine this list. Okay, so take that into account. And the best type of champion is a working champion. Okay, let's just say that right now. The best type of champion is a working champion, always. All right, number 5, Women's United States Champion Julia, who is off to a hot start with the Women's United States Championship in 2026. I think it's been good. Number 4, Women's Intercontinental Champion Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch has had a fantastic 2025 with the Intercontinental Championship, and I got to admit it, I was happy to see her regain the title from Maxine Dupree just because she deserves it. Nothing on Maxine Dupree, but just because she deserves it. We'll see those two fight again soon. We'll talk about that next week. Okay. Number 3. Okay, you got to understand Rhea Ripley and Io Sky are a tag team that has been built up to for the better half of 2025, damn near all of 2025, if you ask me. And now they are going into 2026 with the belts. They're defending the belts. They're fantastic. They're a great tag team. Great way to use Rhea. All right. I understand they want to take a break from Rhea Ripley having the world championship. But maybe after this, you can get back to that. Nonetheless, man, it's really cool to see Rhea Ripley and Io Sky just be a badass, fun tag team and be the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. Number 3. Number 2, MJF, AEW World Champion. MJF had his first defense against Bandito in what was a fantastic match on AEW Dynamite Maximum Carnage. Okay, fantastic work there. And he continues to go and defend the AEW World Championship at Indies. Not what I was expecting to see from MJF in 2026. All right, he can rest on his laurels a little bit. And here he is working. Number 2. All right. Number 1's no surprise, y'all. Number 1, TNA World Champion Mike Santana. Like I said, guys, TNA's first week on AMC and TNA Genesis were kind of a mess. But in the mess was one bright spot, and that's Mike Santana. I care about Mike Santana more than I care about anything in TNA. And this is a company that has the Hardys as TNA World Tag Team Champions currently. They made us care about Mike Santana. Mike Santana and Frankie Kazarian had a 2-match extravaganza this past week. And it was cool. All right. I take back all the stuff I said about Frankie Kazarian being TNA World Champion. I didn't expect TNA to pull off this. I thought they delayed the gratification with Mike Santana way too much to where it got beyond stale, okay? But you have the Open of 2026 consist of Frankie Kazarian versus Mike Santana. It's a big match, and Mike Santana wins. And then Mike Santana wins the Texas Death Match, which was not great, but it was good. Like, I think you have momentum for Mike Santana, and he's the hottest champion in wrestling right now. To see how they follow up with that is beyond me, all right? To see how they follow up with that is beyond me. But right now, I think everything Mike Santana this past week on TNA programming has been excellent, all right? It's a win. It's an absolute win. In a time where the Hardys started to look a little old against the Righteous, sorry to say it, don't like saying it, but sorry to say it, Mike Santana looks fantastic. Leon Slater will continue to be fantastic, and yeah. All right, guys, that's all I got for you. Be good. Say your prayers. Eat your vitamins. Just kidding. Yeah, we'll talk later. We got a low-key busy week of wrestling ahead of us. We'll see who comes shining out of it on the next episode of the Wrestling is Bullshit podcast. All right. Talk soon. Be good. Be happy. Peace out.